Welcome back, Superstar, to how to create a webinar that sells. And right now we're talking about how to make sure the people who register actually show up. It is so frustrating and annoying when you put all this energy and effort into creating a beautiful webinar landing page. You've put it out in front of everybody. You've got tons of people registered, and then nobody shows up for the webinar. I know this because it has happened to me. And that is why you need to learn about a stick sequence. Every webinar needs to have a stick sequence. And what that is what happens immediately after someone registers, all the way up until the moment you start your webinar. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Here's the thing. Everybody is so busy. We all have so many things that we're trying to do and so many things we want to do. When people register for your webinar, they most of the time absolutely intend to watch it. But what happens? Well, between the moment they register and a week later or 5 days later or 3 days later, life gets in the way. And so what you need to do is create a campaign after they've registered to help make sure that they show up. So here's what I've developed over the years. This is what we've landed on. This is how we do it now. It's probably going to evolve and change some more. But in this moment, the first thing we do and what I recommend is the moment they register, that instant, immediately, they get an email and a text message. That brings me all the way back to when we were talking about landing pages and registration. One of the benefits of using a system like Simplero or Kajabi is that you have integrated text messaging. If you're just using the Zoom interface to register people, you will not have access to that. But having text message confirmation makes a big difference in people's show up. And you don't want to capture their cell phone and then just text them an hour before the webinar, because chances are they will have forgotten that they gave you their cell phone number and they might be annoyed. So that's why the moment you receive their registration, you want to immediately send out the email and the text reminder. The email basically says, hey, you're registered. Here's the link. Add this to your calendar. And by the way, you might want to include an add this to your calendar link. You can do that in a few ways. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll come back to that. And then you want to have that text message reminder that comes out right away. That way there's the text that I signed up for text reminders. And by the way, you have to have people opt into text reminders. So what I do is when they register, ask for their first name, their email, and do you want a text reminder? That box is checked, and then it requires their mobile number. Different interfaces work different ways, so you might have a different setup, but essentially you want to have permission and you want to capture their mobile number so that you can send them a text reminder. Now, before I get back to that question about how to have this added to their calendar, I do want to invite you to please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let me know if this is helpful for you. I'd love to hear about your own webinar experience and what you're learning here. Back to the piece about add to your calendar. These days, a substantial portion of people are operating and running their lives from a Google Calendar, an Outlook calendar, an iCal. It helps your stick numbers, your conversion of people who registered to people who showed up. It helps it if you can get that event, your webinar, onto their calendar. Now, there are different ways to do this, but one of the simplest is a little bit of a hack. This is what I do. I create the webinar in my calendar, my Google Calendar, and then in the Google interface under settings, I can share that event with people by getting a link. So I take that link and I put it into the email, and I put it into, we put it into the text message. And that way people can just click that link and boom, it pops up on their calendar. There's other different solutions. You can Google that. There's a whole solution that creates a add to calendar button. You can add that to your thank you page, which we'll talk about in a moment. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but just find a way that makes it easy for people to add this event to their calendar. The other thing that needs to happen the moment they register, you want them to get that email, get that text, but you also, there's the matter of the thank you page that comes up after they've registered. So be mindful that that page is a really important piece of real estate. Why? Because they've just given you their contact info. They've just taken that step forward. The next thing they see, all their attention is on it. That thank you page that pops up, use it wisely. What are you going to do on that thank you page? Well, that would be a great place to include an add to calendar link. That would be a great place to remind them, hey, put this on your calendar. Make sure you've blocked out the time. Make sure that you're present with a notebook and a pen or whatever. Hey, you're going to get some follow-up emails from me. Be on the lookout for those. Make sure that my email doesn't go into your spam folder, right? Your thank you page is really, really important real estate where you can make sure that you're reinforcing the value of coming to the webinar. Now, a lot of times people will use the thank you page to upsell something. So if you've got a book or if you've got, a calendar, invite or something that you want people to take action on next, the thank you page is often a really good place to do that. So let's talk about what happens if people don't show up to your webinar. I get the question all the time, should I offer a replay recording or should I not offer the replay recording? Now, I've gone back and forth on this and I've done it both ways. And I'll tell you where I am now, because that's after many years of trying it different ways. Where we are now is we do offer a recording, but we only offer it for a limited time, usually 48 hours after the webinar. Why? Well, in the past, we haven't offered the recording because we wanted people to show up. But then we get deluged with emails of people, can you send me the recording? Can I please get the recording? And that's kind of a pain. Writing back to each one, either saying, yeah, here it is, or no, I'm not going to give it to you, which kind of feels like not a very nice thing to do. And also what we found is that we get a big chunk of our sales from the recording afterwards. Sometimes people just can't make the live webinar. And that doesn't mean that they're not a prospect. That doesn't mean that they couldn't be a great client. So what we do is we let people know that yes, we're going to have a recording, but it's only going to be up for a limited amount of time. And there's an expiration date on it. And that gives us a good excuse to also email people and remind them, hey, the recording is up for the next 48 hours. It comes down at midnight on yada yada day. So if you want to watch it now. And then we send 2 or 3 emails out to the people who registered but didn't show up, which, by the way, you can track in most email marketing platforms. And also in Zoom, you can compare the list of people who registered with the people who actually showed up. And I will talk to you in a future video about how to get support at managing that, because while you're leading the webinar, you're hosting it, you probably aren't like counting and checking off people to see who showed up, right? So I'll give you a hack for that later. But the point is that we do offer the recording for a limited amount of time, and a good chunk of our sales come from those recorded watchers. Now, I hope this video has been helpful for you. I hope this whole series has been helpful for you. And if it has, and you're curious about what it would look like to work together or what my programs are like and if they can help you, let's connect. You can find out more at superstaractivator.com/go.